Yohanan, chapter 19. Then Pilate therefore took Yeshua and whipped him. And the soldiers plaited a crown of thorns and put it on his head, and arrayed him in a purple garment. And they were coming to him and were saying, Be thou rejoicing, O King of the Yehudim. And they were giving beatings to him. And Pilate went out again, and is saying to them, Behold, I am bringing him out to you, that ye may know that I am finding not even one crime in him. Yeshua therefore came out, wearing the crown of thorns and the purple garment. And Pilate saith to them, Behold the man! When therefore the chief priests and the officers saw him, they cried out, saying, Crucify thou him! Crucify thou him! Pilate is saying to them, Take him yourselves, and crucify ye him! For I am not finding a crime in him. The Yehudim answered him, We are possessing a law, and by the law he ought to die, because he made himself a son of a god. When Pilate therefore heard this saying, he was the more afraid. And he entered into the praetorium again, and is saying to Yeshua, Whence art thou? But Yeshua gave him no answer. Pilate therefore is saying to him, Art thou not speaking to me? Knowest thou that I am possessing authority to release thee, and I am possessing authority to crucify thee? Yeshua answered him, Thou art not possessing authority against me, nothing, except it was a thing having been given to thee from above. Therefore the one having delivered me to thee is having a greater sin. From this Pilate was seeking to release him, but the Yehudim were crying out, saying, If thou release this man, thou art not being a friend of the Caesar. Everyone making himself a king is disputing the Caesar. Pilate therefore, having heard these words, brought Yeshua out, and sat upon a judgment seat at a place being called Litostraton, but by use of language of Hebrew, Gabbatah. Now it was the preparation of the Passover. It was about the 6th hour. And he is saying to the Yehudim, Behold your king. They therefore cried out, Take thou him away! Take thou him away! Crucify thou him! Pilate is saying to them, Should I crucify your king? The chief priests answered, We are not having a king except Caesar. Then therefore he delivered him to them so that he be crucified. They took Yeshua therefore, and bearing for himself the cross, he went out into the place being called the place of a skull, which is being called by use of language of Hebrew, Golgotha, where they crucified him, and with him 2 others, on either side one, and Yeshua in the midst. And Pilate wrote a title also, and put it on the cross, and there was written, Yeshua the Nazoraya, the King of the Yehudim. This title therefore read many of the Yehudim, for the place where Yeshua was crucified was near to the city, and it was being a thing having been written by use of language of Hebrew, by use of language of Romani, and by use of language of Hellenes. The chief priests of the Yehudim, therefore, were saying to Pilate, "Don't be writing the king of the Yehudim, but that this one said, 'I am king of the Yehudim.'" Pilate answered, "What I have written, I have written." The soldiers, therefore, when they crucified Yeshua, took his garments and made 4 parts, to every soldier a part, and also the coat. Now the coat was without seam, woven from the top throughout. They said therefore one to another, "Let us not tear it, but cast lots for it, whose it shall be, that the scripture might be fulfilled, which saith, They parted my garments among them, and upon my vesture did they cast a lot." These things therefore the soldiers did, but there were standing by the cross of Yeshua his mother, and his mother's sister, Maria, the woman of Clopas, and Maria the Magdalene. Therefore Yeshua, having seen his mother and the disciple standing by, whom he was mindfully loving, he is saying to the mother, "Woman, behold thy son." Then he is saying to the disciple, "Behold thy mother." And from that hour the disciple took her in among his own things. After this, Yeshua, having known that now all things have been completed, that the scripture might be completed, he is saying, "I am thirsting." There was set there a vessel full of vinegar, so they put a sponge full of the vinegar upon hyssop, and brought it to his mouth. When Yeshua therefore had received the vinegar, he said, "It hath been completed." And he bowed his head and gave up his spirit. The Yehudim therefore, because it was the preparation, that the bodies should not remain on the cross upon the Shabbat, for the day of that Shabbat was a high day, asked of Pilate that their legs might be broken, and that they might be taken away. The soldiers therefore came, and broke the legs of the first, and of the other one having been crucified with him. But when they came to Yeshua, and saw that he was dead already, they broke not his legs. Howbeit one of the soldiers with a spear pierced his side, and immediately there came out blood and water. And he that hath seen hath borne witness, and his witness is true, and that one hath known that he is saying true things, so that also ye may be believing. For these things became, that the scripture might be fulfilled, "A bone of him shall not be broken." And again another scripture is saying, "They shall look toward him whom they pierced." And after these things, Yosef of Arimathea, being a disciple of Yeshua, but secretly for fear of the Yehudim, asked of Pilate that he might take away the body of Yeshua. And Pilate permitted. He came therefore and took away his body. And there came also Nicodemo, who at the first came to him by night, bringing a mixture of myrrh and aloes, about 100 litras. So they took the body of Yeshua and bound it in linen cloths with the spices, just as a custom is for the Yehudim to be burying. Now in the place where he was crucified there was a garden, and in the garden a tomb, wherein was never a man yet laid. There then, because of the preparation of the Yehudim, for the tomb was near at hand, they laid Yeshua.